And we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Rubenstein, editor-in-chief of SD Times. This is a live SD Times micro webinar. The topic today with, of course, Connect All, Lance Knight, Andrew Fuqua. We'll be talking about what is automating your value stream. And so on that note, I'll just throw it right over to Andrew and let's dive right in.
Great. Okay. Well, so here, just to sort of get everybody on the same page of what we're talking about from a lean perspective, here's the House of Lean. It's got just in time on the left, and Jidoka, probably 1 out of 3 people on this webinar can pronounce that correctly, is about building in quality. It's about the autonomous automation. It's the side of the pillar of the House of Lean that doesn't get much. It doesn't get talked about very much. People talk about just in time a lot, but this thing about Jidoka is not just automation, but it's intelligent automation. It's autonomous automation. It's putting some intelligence into it. So there's a little chart at the bottom that kind of is illustrating like in a manufacturing or assembly line kind of perspective, where you start off and you've got a machine and the human is operating the machine or keeping an eye on it is in the middle part. But the true Jidoka, where the machine is autonomous, it can detect its own defects. It can reject defects, and it can stop itself and call a human over when there's a real problem. And to kind of relate this to software development, I'd like to kind of think of it like this. Straight automation is like a build and deployment pipeline, but Jidoka is a build and deployment pipeline that's smart, that knows when to halt, or that knows when to not even start because there's bad input. So this is about producing quality instead of just automating, rather than just automating a process. And so I'm going to skip that slide in the interest of time. Another way that I like to look at this, and I'll get Lance to chime in here on this one as well, is that if we kind of make a distinction between automation and DevOps, a lot of that is, I think, too much these days is focused on just the value-added steps, just move it to the next process. Whereas automating from a value stream management perspective would take a broader view. It would pay attention to the non-value added steps as well. It would pay attention to governance. It would pay attention to earlier defect detection. Lance, to put you on the spot, could you add any color to this?
You know, sometimes I talk about this in different ways, but it's efficiency of automation without alignment to your outcome. It's efficiency of automation at expense sometimes of your outcomes. Right. I mean, I can make something really efficient. I can automate it all the way through, but then I might not get my outcomes. Right. Mm-hmm. And there's different ways of looking at intelligent automation as well. So when you think about value stream, the DevOps pipeline, of course, is part of a value stream, the whole thing together. And as you're moving things through, you're moving your work packages through. But sometimes there's no intelligence on there. Sometimes if you think about value stream, they put it in there. Like, in manufacturing, you have this thing, it's called the on-down cord. You know, you pull it. And some automations can actually stop the line themselves because they have intelligence in it. So if there's a certain defect or governance, right? So when you look at value stream and automation, you got to think of that intelligence too. Where when something moves from one step to another, maybe a scan has to run automatically. And if it meets a tolerance, a risk tolerance, it'll go through. There's all different ways of thinking about automating in your value stream. There's different pieces of it as well. And, you know, even just the process of taking tickets, a work item ticket from Jira into ALM has to have some intelligence in it as well. It's not as simple as I'm just synchronizing these. Well, I'm synchronizing these, but there's a hierarchy. When I put in this ticket, how do I know which process or program to route it to? And that's intelligent automation, or Jidoka. I said it wrong. When you start to think about it, it's not just looking at the map, it's looking at what's really going on. And that's where the metrics come into play as well to help you make good decisions on, am I making the right ones? Hopefully I had a great color for you there, Andrew.
Yeah.
I'll let you finish your slides out there.
Yeah, just to take it one more example step a little further, we're really, please don't get this wrong. We're not putting down DevOps. We're trying to position where it is in the bigger value stream management. DevOps is often more limited to work management or test management or build management or the deployment, whereas a whole more holistic value stream management is going to consider the portfolio or CRM or our support, governance, and such as that. Lance, any color on this one?
It's the end-to-end process. It's from work intake to code and production. And we often talk about value in the value stream. And we know that the value stream doesn't really care what you're putting through it. It makes this assumption that the requester has that the customer has requested that. And that's where bringing all these pieces together and connecting them allow you to get some of that intelligent automation through the whole system.
Cool. Yeah. So why, of course, there's all kinds of reasons to automate. This is just a smattering. It's reducing waste. That whole Jidoka on the right pillar of the lean, the house of lean, is I believe is what allows you to get continuous flow, which is the just in time, which is the left side or the left pillar on that. So this is not, Jidoka is more than just automation. It's intelligent automation, and it's putting quality in at the source rather than inspecting it in a little bit later. But through this, when we're talking about value stream management software, we're trying to get increased collaboration, or we're trying to support better governance or auditing. It helps people focus, as it says here, on what to deliver rather than how. Yeah, Lance, you want to add color before I move on?
We got a bunch of these samples like triggering in the value stream automated, right? If these tests happen, those builds get triggered. If you have these connections, those things. So this is synchronizing in the value stream, collaborating. That's, feedback loops, monitoring, making sure certain things are happening. So this one's actually an interesting one, but he's going too fast on me on purpose. But, monitoring is really interesting. You got all your monitoring tools out there, making sure you're secure. Well, you need to think about, how do I intelligently automate those feedback loops back to development? So I might find a defect or vulnerability. That might not be software. That might be something to do with hardware. So you have to build in the right understanding of where to flow those back for rapid fix of those developments for security reasons. There's all types of ways you can look at automating and fixing your value stream. Interoperability, triggering builds, triggering activities. So when we think about automating at ConnectAll from a platform, we think about this intelligent automation, which is tooling interoperability, triggering, monitoring, and in fact, making things happen in your value stream with intent to have intelligent automation. And if you also notice, we always talk all about how this relates to lean principles that I learned well after Andrew, because I'm a lot younger than him.
I want to get back just to one point that Andrew had mentioned earlier, where he was saying, I don't want to make this a knock against DevOps, but I'm hearing people these days talk about how using these types of techniques can actually, really kind of drive DevOps and make it stronger and make it more effective. People who are in DevOps now are, finding a lot of snags. They're trying to adopt everything. They're hitting walls, running into problems. A lot of these techniques that you're talking about here, I think, can help make the DevOps efforts by a lot of organizations a lot better.
Absolutely.
This is an interesting point. Andrew, if you take 2 seconds, go back to slide 3.
1, 2, 3.
4. If you look at this is the growth of understanding how to automate. Right. When it comes to DevOps, I feel that we were at the manual cycles and feedbacks, and then with all the different things that are going on, we tried to catapult right to the other one, all the way to the end. Everything's automated, it's all whatever, but they didn't build any intelligence in it to try to understand. So what happens when you get in a DevOps initiative, you run out to buy tools to automate things before you completely understand the cycle of things. But that's a little different than our point here, but it's intelligent automation. It's looking through, understanding it, letting the pipeline be able to stop the build if something happens, right? Not just put it through, find defects, repair those. It's all of this goes together across the whole value stream, right? As we think about, no matter where you're automating, whether that's in Agile,
right,
making sure that requirements only make it to the dev team when they're fully ready to go, not when they're half built.
Right.
All of this thinking intelligently how you're going to make your flow inside software development and delivery work more efficiently.
So to use your jargon, it's skipping the see and measure and just jumping right to automate without actually having a real understanding of what's going on underneath.
Yeah.
All right, skipping our other tagline, that value stream management is human. It really is. You really do have to think through your whole value stream, understand it, and understand where to do autonomous automation, if I can say it well, by really thinking it through instead of just, push the bits to the next thing downstream.
Right.
Well, one shot at it, Dave.
Jidoka.
Jidoka.
How'd I do?
I have no idea.
All right. So it looks like we're up against time. Thank you very much for joining us today for another SD Times Live micro webinar. Thanks to Lance Knight, Andrew Fuqua of Connectall, which of course offers a value stream management solution. And until next time, I'm Dave Rubenstein. So long for now.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys.